Hello everyone, I'm Prince Fogap, I'm Cameroonian, and I'm currently in Nairobi, Kenya. And today I'm going to be cooking for Nyambura Simir, and we are going to be doing two things. We are going to do poulet brisé in the Cameroonian style. We are going to do soya, for those who are familiar with West Africa. Yes, and we're going to have plantain fries, which Ivorians usually call aloko. That said, we have a set of ingredients which we're going to be using today. So for our chicken, for those who are not used to it, we are going to be using a little bit of celery. We are going to have leeks, we have onions, we have fresh garlics, we have bell pepper, and we have a little bit of parsley as well, which we're going to be putting. Added to the spices, we have some grounded shrubs from Cameroon. So this is a mixture of so many things. If I call the name, many are not going to be familiar with it. But we're going to be using it as well for our pepper. But first, we are going to grind all of this, then marinate this with our spices, and put on our chicken for about 15 to 20 minutes in the freezer. Once we are done, we are going to come to the Cameroonian soya. We're going to do the mixture of the necessary spices for the soya before we put them as well on charcoal. And the last thing we're going to be doing is a plantain. Very easy to do. We just need hot oil and we're good to go. So follow me for the next steps. Okay, so we start by putting all together our necessary spices, which we're going to blend here. So we start with the onions. You don't need to oversplit the onions because it's going to be grounded in the machine. So we just do this in this style. Once you're done with the onion, you can simply put your garlics, fresh garlics. And be very careful with the way you put the garlics, because if you overput garlic, the food is going to smell like garlic and it's not really going to taste nice. Then the next one is the leeks. You can simply split them into four as well as we did for the onions. And then you chop them into tiny pieces. There we go. You can add a little bit of fresh leaf as well. And make sure you put the quantity which is going to be necessary, or which is going to be just enough for the chicken you're trying to make. This white part is the part that has one of the best flavors. So we're just gonna add it here. The next is a bell pepper. Make sure you clean this part. You just need to remove this part, and the rest you can slice it. Okay. Good. Then a little bit of celery, not plenty, just a little bit of it. Make sure you remove the hard stems, it's not good for just the leaves. And then the last one is the parsley. This one is there for the scent, if you can scent it. Simmers very well. This one is to make sure the chicken equally has a very good scent while it's cooking. Once again, you don't have to put much. You put depending on the quantity of the chicken. Remember to remove the stems. Then cut them all here. Perfect. Now that this is done, we are going to add our paste so that it gets to mix in the whole spicy stuff. Then a little bit of white pepper, as you can see. So you add a little bit of white pepper. And then we add a little bit of this as well. You can measure it using a spoon or using a knife if you prefer. So we're gonna add 2 of this. And then we're gonna grind it. We'll be back for the grinding. Once we grind it, we have the paste, which we're going to mix here in the chicken. All right, so now that we've marinated our chicken, we are simply going to keep it aluminum foil. The reason why we're doing this is because there's a lot of scent. That ghost scent doesn't need to go away. It needs to stay inside here. And we're using it for this purpose. And equally for it to get in the chicken as quickly as possible. Once we do this, we're gonna keep it in the fridge for 5 to 15 minutes. Or if you want it to go quicker, you can keep it in the freezer for 5 minutes. And then you proceed with the boiling. Thank you. So now we're moving to the second phase. You know, while roasting the chicken, it's always good to have some sauce to add it while you're roasting the Cameroonian style. Or you can just have your sauce by the side, which you can dip in once you've roasted the chicken. So it's that paste that we're going to do now. It consists of the same thing we just mixed, but this time around, we are not going to add this. We are simply going to be focusing on our fresh veggies from the farm. So just like the other process, we do the same thing. We take our leeks, we add it to the blender. We go for our bell pepper. We do the same stuff with these leaves, the leeks. So this one we are going to fry it and put a little bit of groundnut oil, or if you want cooking oil. You know, West Africa, East Africa, we have different appellations to these names. So we add more, but you want to make sure you don't put much of one so that it doesn't get bitter, because sometimes when you overmix it, it can get bitter. You put a little bit of celery as well. Very important for the whole stuff. So there are 2 ways for the celery. Either you can cut it the way I was doing, or you can simply pick the main leaves and you put them in the stuff. If you don't want to get rid of the stems by cutting, you can simply do this way. So I'm just simply getting the leaves and then the stem is left, which I throw. I do the same for the remaining ones. I get just the leaves and then I get rid of the stems. Just the leaves again, and I get rid of the stems. So this is celery. You do the same as well for parsley. Parsley is one of the most important spices for this one. So you want to make sure you have a lot of it, but equally not too much, because parsley can cause the whole sauce to be a little bit bitter or to be a little bit too greeny. So you want to make sure you have the right quantity. So we're going to put half of this, and then we're gonna keep this one away. So we're using this one. Once again, because the parsley is well leafed, you can simply do the same stuff. You put just the leaf. The stems is what makes it a lot bitter. So it's better to put very little of the stems and focus only on the leaves. You cut just the leaves and you put them as well, and get rid of the stems. Get rid of the stem as much as possible, just to avoid it from being bitter. So once we're done with this, we're going to fry it. I'm equally going to take you through the process of frying the paste to make it into an eatable sauce. And then the last one is going to be the onions and white pepper and a little bit of garlics. So this one, we are not going to be adding this paste because it's completely different. Gonna put a little bit of salt as well. into the paste. Then I'll be adding white pepper as well. And the last one missing is the garlic, and then we're done with that mixture. Then we add our garlics and the water to ease the process. And then we shall blend all of this before steaming it. Okay. So this one is gonna be cooked. So we're gonna put our paste in a frying pan. And then we're gonna cook it till it becomes a paste, and then we fry it with oil. So come with me for next phase. So we put this in the fire. We're doing this because we want to dry off the water which we use in all of this. And once it's going to become just the paste, we're going to add cooking oil. We're going to add a little bit of salt, and then we're going to add a little bit of Maggi cubes. See you later. Now that we've cut our meat into pieces, not into tiny pieces, So we've cut them into long pieces so that we can easily put them on the charcoal stove. And once it's ready, we're going to cut it into smaller pieces. So now that we've mixed our different spices, if you recall, we had the white pepper, we had soya spices, we had Maggi cubes, and then we've added cooking oil as well, a little bit of ginger, but we don't put a lot of ginger because if you feel the ginger in the meat, it's not gonna be good. So now that we've pieced our meat into tinier pieces, we're going to marinate it before putting it on charcoal. So right now, you just do the mixture. You want to make sure you marinate your meat very well and keep it for some minutes before you take it to the grilling station. Once again, remember hygiene is pivotal since you are dealing with a lot of hand mixtures. Make sure your hands are always clean at all times. Make sure you mix very well so that it gets into the meat and into all parts. And then you may want to leave it for about 5 to 10 minutes as well before you put it on charcoal. So the reason why we're equally adding cooking oil is because that's what's going to help the meat to get ready. It softens the meat and it equally helps the heat get easily inside the meat. We are not boiling this one, so we need to be very careful. So there are two approaches. Either you can cut the meat into very tiny pieces before you mix and you grill, but that one is usually advisable when you're using a cooking stove. But since this one we're going to be using charcoal, it's usually better to have larger pieces. And once it's ready, you can chop into little pieces and serve to your guests. So here you can now see it's got into each part of the meat, just as we want it. As you can see, so the oil is going to help, make the meat get ready as soon as possible. We are equally just going to do like the chicken. We leave it for 5 to 10 minutes just so it gets into the meat before we get into the grilling station. See you for the next step. All right, now that we've marinated our chicken, We brought it out of the fridge after 5 to 15 minutes, as we had earlier stated. Let's see how it looks like. You can always try to test if there's enough Maggi or salt to your taste. Good. But you can equally make the sauce we're just making. When we're going to be roasting the chicken, we're equally going to be adding some of it. So right now, it's time for boiling. We pour it here to boil. So you dip this chicken right into the sauce, so that as it boils, it gets into the chicken itself. Once that is done, we're gonna boil it for 10 minutes. Okay, now that our paste is completely dry from the water, we are now going to fry it with cooking oil. As you have noticed, I've added cooking oil to it. And once it gets ready, we are going to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of Maggi as well. And as we're going to be roasting our chicken, we're equally going to apply as we're roasting. Or we could simply use it as a different sauce that we dip into the sauce and eat the chicken once it is ready. Okay. This stuff takes a lot of oil, so. All right, so the last one is plantains. So we're going to be frying plantains as well to eat it with the soya and the grilled chicken. As you may know, Ivorians call this aloko, and Congolese as well, but they have a different way of slicing it. Us Cameroonians, we have a different way of doing it. So I'm going to show you people. So you peel off the plantain, you put up a line here, you remove this. So Ivorians and Congolese, so Ivorians have their way. Ivorians, they do it like this. They call it aloko. This is an assassination, like this. For Congolese, they do it like this. And they cut it into 4. This is just terrible. The best way is the Cameroonian way. Not just because I'm Cameroonian, but I think it makes the stuff look more appetizing. So we cut it like this, into lines. And once we fry it, we present it that way. So I'm gonna do the rest in the Cameroonian style. You cut, you cut. Peel off the leaf. So we're just gonna peel all of them first before we start cutting, to save time. So when you'll be serving in the plate, you can just put them, just align them in a straight way. It depends on you. I'm gonna show you at the end of the whole process. Yeah, so now our plantains. Once the oil is hot enough, we simply put our plantains for frying. Charlotte. All right, so sorry for the smoke, but now it's time to grill our meat. As you can see, we already marinated it. So now we're gonna leave it on the fire for about 30 to 40 minutes for it to get ready. It's a little bit juicy because of the oil and the remaining water that was still on the meat, but all of this is gonna get dry by the time it's ready. And you're going to have the final product after this. So see you in 30 minutes. All right, so the very last one is a roasted fish. So this one is very practical. We already have our marinated sauce, as you can see here, which we're going to use for the fish. And the other aspect that we need is just a little bit of Maggi cubes, and a little bit of white pepper, which we are going to add here. We are equally going to add a little bit of mixed spices, just a little bit, and then salt. And then salt, where's the salt? Yes, and then salt. So just like the chicken, we're equally going to wound our fish. So we have tilapia fish here. well cleaned. So you're gonna run it as well so that the spices can get inside, and it's going to get ready easily. Do the same thing on the other end. Second one, same thing, well clean. Perfect. Once we're done, we're going to mix our green spices, a little bit of oil, and marinate the fish as well, ready for roasting. All right, so the last one is our fish. Just like the chicken, we prepared a green sauce as well for our fish, which consists of onions, garlics, parsley, celery. So we are going to apply it as well on the fish. But first, you want to make sure the spices get into the fish. So we are equally going to put like some inside the fish. We marinate that fish before we get to the grilling stage. You want to make sure you equally put it in between the fish. Open it up and you put it in between the fish. Okay. To spice the fish inside. Our fire is too hot.
Okay.
It's too hot. This one is fish. If it's too hot, it's just gonna go on this thing. Alright, so now we're spicing our fish. The fire was a little bit too hot for it. Now you want to make sure the spices go everywhere. So you spice the belly as well. Spice the head. Some of us eat head, so we need to spice it. Yeah, and it's going to be ready in 5 minutes. Okay, so now our chicken is being grilled. As you can see, the marinated sauce we did, that's what we're putting on our chicken at the moment. Very soft, it's already pissing off. That's because we boil it a little bit before making it, put it on fire for grilling. As you can see, very soft, very delicious. New ways of using green spices to cook. Make sure you make your chicken to be this soft, delicious. As you can see, it's pissing off because it was well cooked. The spices are well inside, and we're gonna eat it with plantains. Okay, see you shortly for the final stage. We're not gonna make it dry, make it saucy, because we'll be eating with plantain. So you're gonna remove it like this. So you can always choose to make it very dry like this, or make it wet. The things we're eating with plantains, we're gonna make it a little bit saucy so that as we're eating, dipping it with the plantains, it gets some sauce at the end of the day. Yep. So start making use of all your spices, John, on your... All right, now we are finally done with everything we said we were gonna do today. As you can see, we have our fried plantains made in the Cameroonian style. We have our soya, well seasoned. We have our chicken made with a green sauce, which we earlier spoke about, and the fish. So it's a little bit scattered, it's tilapia. The fire was a little bit too hot, but as you can see, and naturally, what's a meal without rice? So over to the chef.
Okay, no chef at all, just the gardener. But yeah, it's been a great afternoon cooking with him. I've learned so much. Some of the things that I've always grown, like parsley and celery, have never ever used them like this. So we made this sauce, and it tells me that I can keep it in the fridge and keep using it. So that's something I've learned new. almost all this food that we've cooked it differently. In Kenya, we would have called this nyama choma, but it was done so differently, and I can assure you, it tastes way differently. When it comes to this is pepper, the sauce. We didn't buy any ketchup, any tomato sauce. We made it from scratch. I mean, today was just cooking from scratch. And then fish, I've never ever in my life cooked raw fish. I've never even touched it. I actually fear raw fish, but this is raw fish. It was done in the grill and it's amazing. And finally, we have our usual rice. So let us go enjoy this food. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this video. And always remember, if you have a vision, add some passion. I'll see you in the next one.
I was also observing, but I assisted in making the kachumbari. You call it local kachumbari. The Kenyan style though. All this is Cameroon style, but it's not the Kenyan style. Karibuni kwa mlo.